This video is about Zeus summons storm until heroes escape. If this myth excites you, please like the video, share it with friends, and write in the comments how it pulled you into the adventure. In the age when gods roamed the earth and mortals whispered their names in reverence, Olympus stood resplendent against the azure sky. Its marble pillars gleamed with the light of the sun, and the air crackled with divine energy. Yet beneath this beautiful facade, shadows loomed and tension simmered. Zeus, king of the gods, stood upon his throne, his brow knitted with worry. The once harmonious pantheon had been tainted by jealousy and deceit. His youngest daughter, Athena, approached, her countenance serious. "Father, the mortals grow restless. Dark omens plague their lands, and whispers of betrayal spread like wildfire." Zeus leaned forward, his stormy gaze piercing through the clouds of uncertainty. "What do you propose, daughter? Must we interfere directly, or shall we let them forge their own fate? Destiny is a fickle mistress." Athena's voice was calm yet firm. "A storm is brewing, father. Not just the tempest of nature, but the storm of conflict among the gods. If we do not act, Olympus may fall to chaos." Summoning the winds and thunder, Zeus raised his mighty hand, a signal for the council of the gods to assemble. As the clouds darkened and swirled above, powerful figures materialized, each embodying the essence of their domains. Poseidon, god of the sea, arrived with a crashing wave, while Hades, lord of the underworld, emerged from shadows deeper than night. "Why do you summon us, brother?" Poseidon questioned, a wave of curiosity cresting behind his words. "What calamity do you foresee?" Zeus's voice rolled like thunder. "Mortals have begun to turn against the gods. They forge alliances in their ignorance, seeking power against us. We must decide. Do we crush their rebellion or guide them through their turmoil?" Ares, the bloodthirsty god of war, grinned ferociously. "Nothing brings me more joy than a good battle. Let the mortals come. We will rain fury upon them." But Hera, queen of the gods, interjected with a stern glare. "This is not a time for bloodlust, Ares. We must consider the consequences of our actions. Chaos breeds more chaos." Before Zeus could respond, Hermes, the swift-footed messenger, burst into the council, breathless. "Great Zeus, a prophecy has been revealed, one that speaks of a rising hero, a mortal who shall face a great storm summoned by the gods. It is said that only through unity can they escape." "And what of this hero?" Artemis, the goddess of the hunt, inquired, her emerald eyes sparking with interest. "Is he to be our instrument of salvation or destruction?" "He is not yet known," Hermes replied, "but his destiny is tightly woven with ours. The storm shall not be merely physical but a test of the heart and spirit." Zeus's eyes gleamed with renewed determination. "Then we shall summon the storm, a trial for humanity, a trial for ourselves. We shall see if this hero can withstand our wrath and unite the fractured realm." As the celestial council dispersed, the skies darkened and winds howled across the land. Thunder clapped violently, announcing the arrival of the tempest. In the mortal realm, the winds began to howl and whirl, unsettling the very earth beneath their feet. Cities trembled as ominous clouds gathered, blotting out the sun. Meanwhile, in a humble village at the foot of Mount Olympus, a young blacksmith named Lycos labored tirelessly. He forged weapons of unmatched strength, but had no idea of the storm brewing both above and within him. His heart was sturdy, filled with honor and dreams, yet a sense of foreboding gnawed at him. One day, as he quenched a blade in the cool waters of a brook, an old hermit approached him, eyes gleaming with wisdom. "Lycos, do you not sense the winds of change? The gods themselves are planning a trial, and you may be the hero our land needs." "Sire, I am but a simple blacksmith," Lycos replied, wiping sweat from his brow. "What can I do against the wrath of gods and monsters?" The hermit's voice was steady, filled with ancient knowledge. "The strength of a hero lies not in his might but in his heart. You must find those lost in despair, rally them to your cause, and confront the storm together." Just as the old man spoke, a deafening roar echoed across the heavens. Dark clouds erupted into a swirling vortex, and lightning danced like fury unleashed. The sky split and rain fell in torrents, washing over the village. The villagers ran in panic, seeking shelter from the chaos. Lycos stood firm, feeling the pulse of destiny surge through him. "I shall not cower in the face of the storm," he declared, lifting his newly forged sword high. "If I am to be tested, I will seek out others who dare to stand with me." With that vow echoing in his heart, Lycos ventured forth into the chaos, the once familiar path now shrouded in darkness. He navigated through the tempest, guided by an unseen force, until he stumbled upon a ruined temple dedicated to Athena. Inside, in the flickering light of fading torches, stood 3 warriors. Elara, a fierce Amazon warrior known for her unmatched archery; Thalos, a giant of a man forged in the fires of war; and Kalen, a cunning rogue, master of stealth and deception. Each bore the marks of pain and loss, yet their eyes sparkled with the flame of hope. "What is this place?" Elara asked, her voice steady despite the raging storm outside. "The gathering place of heroes," Lycos replied, feeling the solidarity among them. "We must unite, for the storm is upon us, and the gods have summoned us to face our destinies." Thalos, wielding his massive axe, nodded. "I have fought many battles, but this storm feels different. It is not merely a force of nature, it is a test of our very souls." Kalen crossed his arms, skepticism written on his face. "And why should we trust a blacksmith? What can you offer us that we do not already possess?" Lycos stepped forward, heart pounding. "Honor, loyalty, and a shared purpose. We are not merely fighting against the storm, but for the light, the freedom of our people. Alone, we may falter, but together we can withstand anything." Silence enveloped the group before Elara finally broke it, her voice resolute. "Then we stand together. If the gods wish to challenge us, let them try. We shall forge our own fate." As they formed a pact, lightning illuminated the temple, casting stark shadows across their determined faces. They shared their stories, their fears, and their hopes for the future. And with each tale, the bond between them grew stronger. Suddenly, a deafening crash echoed as the storm breached the temple's entrance, hurling debris and rain into their sanctuary. The gods had unleashed their wrath, determined to test the resolve of these chosen mortals. "Prepare yourselves," Lycos shouted, raising his sword as thunder clapped above. The storm raged outside, but within them, a fire ignited. Each would face their own fears, battling not just the tempest but the monsters within. As darkness enveloped the land, the heroes leaned on one another, unified in purpose, ready to confront the storm. The true battle was about to begin, and their destinies were now intertwined, teetering on the edge of honor and tragedy. And thus, the journey of Lycos, the blacksmith, and his newfound companions began, a quest fraught with peril and promise, where the storm summoned by Zeus would test the very limits of their courage, loyalty, and heart. Little did they know that a greater challenge awaited them, and the gods watched with bated breath, eager to witness the unfolding of fate. As the storm raged outside, the dimly lit temple felt like a fragile sanctuary against the chaotic world unfolding beyond its weathered walls. Lycos, clutching his sword, felt the weight of his companions' gazes upon him. The air crackled with tension, and he silently swore to protect them. "Elara, your arrows can pierce the clouds," Lycos began, his voice steady despite the tempest's roar. "Thalos, your strength can shatter any foe. Kalen, your cunning can navigate our paths unseen. Together, we shall forge our fate against this storm." "Words are not enough," Kalen replied, his skepticism still clinging to him. "We need a plan. If we are to face the wrath of gods, we must be more than just warriors. We must be clever as well." Thalos slammed his fist against the stone wall, causing small flakes of dust to fall. "Then let us devise that plan. We cannot wait here for the storm to claim us. We must take the fight to it. We must find the heart of Zeus's tempest and confront him. But how do we reach it?" Elara interjected, her brow furrowed in thought as the winds howled louder, rattling the temple's walls. "The storm is no mere tempest. It's a manifestation of divine wrath. We must be prepared for anything. Lycos felt a surge of inspiration. If the storm is a test, perhaps it has a center, a core from which it emanates. If we can reach it, we might quell its fury. Legends speak of a sacred altar atop Mount Olympus that can harness divine powers. We must find it. Kalen nodded, his eyes narrowing with determination. Very well, but we should make our way carefully. The gods may have sent monsters to guard their sacred places. As the howling winds crescendoed outside, the heroes stepped into the tempest. Raindrops fell like daggers upon their skin, yet the rising fury of the storm ignited their resolve. Each step forward was a trial against the elements, but they pressed on, weaving through torrents of rain and gusts of wind. Suddenly, a figure emerged through the haze, a creature of nightmares, a fearsome gorgon, its hair a writhing mass of serpents. Its eyes glinted like emeralds, and a malicious grin spread across its face, revealing fangs sharp enough to sever steel. "Fools," the gorgon hissed, its voice a chilling whisper. "You dare challenge the will of the gods. You will be turned to stone before you take another breath." Alara sprang forward, her bow taut against her shoulder. "Face us if you wish to meet your end, creature." She released an arrow that soared through the air, finding its mark in the gorgon's shoulder. The creature roared, the sound echoing through the storm. "You think mere arrows can harm me?" With a flick of its serpent hair, it unleashed a torrent of venom that splattered against the temple's stone, hissing as it pooled. Thalos stepped in front of Alara, brandishing his axe. "We will see who falls first." With a primal shout, he charged, swinging his weapon with the force of a raging fire. The gorgon dodged, serpents lunging at Thalos, but he countered with a powerful swing, cleaving through the air. Kalen, ever the strategist, slipped into the shadows, moving stealthily around the foe. "Lycos!" he shouted, distracted. "I'll find a way to strike from behind." Lycos charged at the gorgon, sword raised. "Away from my friends, fiend!" He lunged, and the creature turned, its eyes narrowing dangerously. But instead of petrifying him, it hissed, drawing back as if sensing the hero's burgeoning spirit. Realizing the creature was distracted, Kalen seized his chance. He sprang from the shadows, dagger drawn, and plunged it deep into the gorgon's side. The creature shrieked, its serpents thrashing wildly as it staggered back. Seeing their foe weakened, Alara's resolve surged. "Together!" she cried, and they advanced as one. Thalos swung his axe with thunderous might, Lycos joined with a fierce slash of his sword, and Alara loosed arrows with deadly precision. The gorgon, caught in a whirlwind of steel and fury, faltered. In its final moments, the gorgon let out a wrenching scream, a curse on the heroes that echoed through the storm. "You may defeat me, but the wrath of the gods shall not relent. They will send worse than I." With that, it disintegrated into shadows, leaving behind a trail of darkness. Panting, the heroes stood together, their victory bittersweet. "We've won this battle, but the war is far from over," Thalos said, wiping the sweat from his brow. "But we are united," Lycos replied, determination glimmering in his eyes. "If we face each challenge together, we will endure." As they continued their ascent toward Mount Olympus, the storm intensified, winds howling like a banshee. Lightning split the sky, illuminating a terrifying sight. A colossal titan, grim and fearsome, looming on the rocky path ahead. "Another guardian," Kalen shouted, adrenaline coursing through him. "This one looks more formidable than the last." The titan roared, its voice like rolling thunder. "You trespass on sacred ground. I shall crush you beneath my heel." Lycos gripped his sword tighter. "We must be quick and clever, distracted, and I'll strike its weak point." He looked to Alara. "Your arrows can find the chinks in its armor." "Trust me," Alara nodded, knocking her bow. "I will keep it occupied." As Alara began to fire arrows, the titan swatted at her, its massive hands swiping through the air. Thalos charged, dodging the titan's massive feet, shouting, "Here, you lumbering fool! Over here!" The titan turned its attention to Thalos, who leaped and ducked with surprising grace for such a large being. "You think you can escape my grasp?" it bellowed, swinging its hand. But Thalos was quick. He dodged and rolled, getting underfoot. Now Lycos seized his moment. With every ounce of strength, he sprinted forward, sword gleaming with determination. "Now!" he shouted, plunging his blade into the space beneath the Titan's armored chest. The Titan howled, a sound of pure agony staggering back. Kalen leaped into action, throwing a dagger straight into the Titan's eye. "Strike now while it's distracted," he urged, and together they attacked with relentless fury. The Titan swung wildly, but Alara's arrows found their mark, piercing its rocky skin. With a final desperate blow, Thalos swung his axe, cleaving through the Titan's neck. In an explosive burst of earth and stone, it crumbled to the ground, defeated. Breathless but victorious, the heroes huddled, the air thick with tension. "The gods truly test our mettle," Thalos panted, wiping blood and sweat from his brow. Lycos looked at his companions, sensing their shared strength. "We have faced 2 guardians and emerged intact. Our bond has only strengthened. We must push on. The heart of the storm awaits." As they journeyed upward, the winds howled with fury, threatening to tear them apart. Each step felt heavier, yet they pressed on, driven by the fire of their purpose. Soon, they found themselves at the base of Mount Olympus, where the storm seemed most chaotic. The air crackled with divine energy and the skies darkened unnaturally. "This is it," Lycos breathed, his heart racing. "The altar lies just beyond that ridge. If we can reach it, we may harness the storm's power." But as they climbed, shadows loomed above them, figures drifting into view, figures of the gods, their faces twisted with disdain and curiosity. Zeus stood at the forefront, his eyes like bolts of lightning as he surveyed the mortals. "Who dares to challenge the wrath of Olympus?" His voice boomed, echoing through the storm. "You mortals are but pawns in my game. Abandon your quest or face consequences beyond your understanding." Lycos stepped forward, heart pounding yet resolute. "We refuse to bow. We fight not just for ourselves, but for every mortal who suffers under divine indifference. We will not back down." "Foolishness." Ares leaped from the shadows, eyes alight with battle lust. "You shall learn the meaning of true despair." As the gods descended, the heroes stood shoulder to shoulder, ready to confront the divine forces of Olympus. Thunder rumbled ominously, and as the skies opened up, they prepared for the battle of their lives. In the face of overwhelming odds, Lycos raised his sword high. "We may be mere mortals, but our resolve is forged from the fires of our trials. In unity we stand." And thus began the most epic clash between mortals and gods, a storm of fury, honor, and destiny unfolding against the backdrop of Olympus. The storm raged on, but within that tempest stood warriors unwavering, ready to carve their legacy against the chaos of fate. As the storm raged over Mount Olympus, Zeus's piercing eyes reflected the chaos. "These mortals dare defy the gods," he thundered, gripping his staff, which crackled with raw energy. The winds howled as Ares flexed his muscles, eager for battle, while Poseidon summoned waves that crashed against the mountain's base. Lycos, heart pounding in rhythm with the storm, felt the overwhelming power of the gods washing over him. "Stand firm," he shouted, rallying his companions. Alara, Thalos, and Kalen stood resolute beside him, their breaths heaving in sync with the tempest. "What's the plan, blacksmith?" Thalos asked, his massive frame quaking with both excitement and trepidation. "We face the gods now. Mortal weapons may not suffice. Yet it is our unity that gives us strength." Lycos replied, his voice resolute. "We must strike at their hearts, not with mere blades, but with our courage. Let them see our resolve." With a deafening roar, Ares charged forward, his battle cry echoing like thunder. "Let the storm rage. I shall show these mortals the futility of their defiance." He dashed towards Thalos, eager to engage the giant warrior, who met Ares's ferocity with his own primal strength. The two collided like titans, the ground shaking beneath their feet. Kalen, lithe and nimble, darted into the shadows, eyes darting to find advantageous positions. "I'll flank the gods," he whispered to Alara, who was knocking an arrow, her gaze steady as she targeted Ares. "Cover me." The air grew electric as Alara released her arrow. It flew true, slicing through the storm like a comet, but Ares, sensing the impending danger, deflected it with a swift motion, sending it spiraling into the distance. Pathetic, he bellowed, the thrill of battle igniting his bloodlust. You think your feeble attempts can wound a god? Meanwhile, Poseidon raised his hands, calling forth a tidal wave that surged against the heroes. Feel the power of the ocean, he roared, unleashing a torrent that threatened to engulf them all. Lycos, Alara screamed, her eyes wide with fear as the wave rushed towards them. In that moment, Lycos felt the pulse of destiny within him, a fire that refused to be extinguished. Together, he shouted, and the heroes braced themselves, binding their strength in an unbreakable chain. As the wave crashed against them, they pushed against the force, holding their ground with raw determination. Thalos planted his axe into the ground, creating a barrier of stone, while Kalen nimbly dodged the rushing water, using his agility to evade its grasp. Now, Lycos roared, and with a surge of strength, they broke through the wall of water. Emerging like warriors reborn, they charged once more into the fray. Seeing the mortals' tenacity, Zeus felt a flicker of respect beneath his fury. They fight with the spirit of heroes, he muttered, narrowing his gaze. But it will not be enough. With a wave of his hand, lightning crackled across the skies, bolts striking down at the heroes. They scattered, each seeking cover beneath the onslaught. We must split up, Kalen shouted, darting into the shadows of the rocky landscape. If we can confuse them, we may find a way to exploit their weaknesses. Agreed, Lycos shouted back, adrenaline coursing through his veins. Alara, go high, Thalos, follow me to the left, we'll create a diversion. The heroes separated, each moving with purpose. Alara climbed to a higher vantage point, her keen eyes surveying the battlefield while Lycos and Thalos charged at Zeus, drawing his attention away from Kalen's stealthy approach. With a shout, Lycos swung his sword, catching Zeus off guard. You may be a god, but we are not afraid. He thrust forward, but Zeus parried the blow with a flick of his wrist, sending Lycos sprawling back against Thalos. Foolish mortal, Zeus roared, summoning the wind with his voice. You seek to challenge the divine, prepare to be crushed. But before Zeus could unleash his fury, Alara released a flurry of arrows from above. They whistled through the air, striking the ground around Zeus and forcing him to divert his attention. Strike, Thalos, she called down, her voice filled with urgency. Thalos, fueled by Alara's command, swung his axe with all his might, aiming for Zeus's legs. The ground trembled as the axe connected, sending a shockwave rippling through the earth. This is for the mortals you so easily disregard, he bellowed. Staggered, Zeus turned his gaze to Thalos. You will pay for that insolence. He raised his staff, summoning a storm of lightning that crackled ominously. Just then, Kalen, hidden in the shadows, seized his opportunity. He darted forward, aiming a dagger toward Zeus's exposed flank. For honor, he cried, thrusting forward with speed and precision. But Zeus sensed the attack and deflected it with a surge of divine energy. You think you can strike me, worm? He roared, fury igniting in his eyes. Not alone, Kalen shouted, and at that moment, Alara struck again from above, unleashing a volley of arrows that rained down like a tempest of steel. Zeus was momentarily caught off guard, his focus split between the agile rogue and the relentless Amazon. Lycos surged forward once more, sword ablaze with purpose. Now, my friends, he shouted, rallying his companions. Together, fueled by the spirit of unity, Lycos charged, Thalos following close behind, wielding his axe with devastating might. They struck with precision, aiming blows at Zeus, who staggered under the barrage. You mortals have spirit, I will grant you that. Zeus bellowed, but beneath the exterior of anger, a flicker of admiration sparked. But spirit alone cannot withstand the storm. With a mighty roar, he unleashed his full power, creating a whirlwind that enveloped the area. The wind howled, threatening to tear the heroes apart as it swept them from the battlefield. You shall face my wrath, But Lycos, undeterred, gripped his sword and shouted back, "We will not be swept away. We stand against your storm." And in that moment, the tempest roared to life, answering his defiance. The wind swirled around them and the ground trembled, shaking with the fury of the gods. Yet within their hearts, the heroes felt an unyielding fire. As the storm engulfed them, Lycos glimpsed a vision, a radiant aura beckoning from the altar atop Mount Olympus. "We must reach the altar," he shouted. "It may be our only hope." The others nodded, their resolve ignited. "Then let's push through," Thalos bellowed, charging into the storm, Lycos at his side. "Follow me," Alara called, leading the way as they fought against the furious winds and rain. Kalen darted between them, using his agility to guide them through the chaos, narrowly avoiding debris hurled by the tempest. "Keep moving," Lycos urged, the altar's glow a beacon of hope amidst the darkness. "It's close." At last, they reached the summit of Mount Olympus, the altar standing proud against the wrath of the storm. It shimmered with divine energy, an ancient stone inlay crafted by hands of the gods. "There," Alara shouted, pointing toward the altar, "we can harness its power." But before they could reach it, Zeus appeared before them, unyielding and towering like a storm unto himself. "You think you can defy me and claim the altar? You are mistaken. Not for ourselves, but for our people," Lycos shouted, stepping forward, heart ablaze with courage. "This storm is not just yours to command. We are the heroes of our own fates." At that moment, a bolt of lightning cracked from the heavens and the ground trembled. Zeus's eyes flashed with raw power, but deep within him, a hint of doubt flickered. "You foolish mortals." "Foolish or brave?" Kalen interjected, stepping beside Lycos, his eyes fierce. "We fight not just against you, but for everyone you've wronged. You cannot silence us." An unexpected silence fell, the air thick with tension as Zeus hesitated. For the first time, he saw the strength of their unity, the fire of their purpose. "Perhaps," he rumbled, "there is something to be learned from your defiance." Seizing the moment, Lycos stepped even closer, feeling the pulse of the altar. "Let us harness the storm together. We will not be pawns, we will unite our fates." In that moment, the storm seemed to pause, the winds calm for the briefest of seconds. With a fierce shout, Zeus released his power into the altar, and the heroes joined him, channeling their collective strength into the ancient stone. Light erupted, merging the essence of mortals and gods, forging a new destiny. The storm swirled around them, transforming from wrathful chaos into a vibrant dance of energy. As the storm crackled with newfound energy around them, the once turbulent winds began to calm, swirling instead in harmonious circles, illuminated by brilliant arcs of lightning. Zeus, with a glimmer of uncertainty in his stormy gaze, watched the mortal heroes channel their spirit into the ancient altar, a testament to their unity and perseverance. "By the fates, they have something I had forgotten," he murmured, his voice drowned out by the collective roar of the tempest, transformed into a symphony of resilience. The raw energy of the storm surged toward the altar, flowing between the young blacksmith and the god of thunder, a bridge formed by mutual respect, a rare bond between divine and mortal. Together, Lycos shouted, his voice steady and resolute, "Let our courage become the storm's heart. Let it be a force for good, not chaos." The air shimmered with power as each warrior lent their essence to the altar, their hearts beating in sync with the thunderous rhythm of the universe. Alara, her spirit soaring with each pulse of energy, loosed a battle cry. "For our people, for every soul that yearns for freedom." Her voice rang like bells across the mountaintop, echoing through the valleys below where mortals cowered from the gods' fury. "Let them hear us," Thalos bellowed, his massive hands gripping the altar's edge. "Let them know we will rise against despair." The titan of a man, typically known for brute force, now embodied the essence of honor and bravery, his heart a beacon in the storm. The altar glowed brighter, absorbing their will and intertwining it with the divine essence of Zeus. "Feel the power of your own destiny," he intoned, his voice rumbling across the mountains, resonating with the energy now flowing through the altar. for every choice has a price. As the storm intensified, the skies above seemed to darken with fury, as if the gods themselves were unwilling to relinquish their grip. "You think yourselves worthy, mortals?" Ares sneered, his eyes aflame with rage. "You will all perish. I shall not allow your defiance to go unpunished." Drawing forth his sword, glimmering with the bloodlust of countless battles, Ares charged, a whirlwind of divine wrath. The air crackled with tension as he lunged toward Lycos, brimming with an insatiable thirst for violence. "I will enjoy watching you fall." But Lycos stood firm, heart racing, his sword at the ready. "You may be a god, Ares, but you do not understand the strength of our resolve." With a cry, he blocked Ares's strike, the impact sending a shockwave that rippled through the air, causing the altar to tremble. Together, Kalen shouted, weaving through the chaos, his daggers glinting with purpose. "We are more than warriors, we are a force born from honor." He darted behind Ares, a shadow amidst the storm, attacking with blinding speed. His dagger found a chink in Ares's armor, a small victory that ignited hope in the hearts of his companions. Ares roared in frustration, turning his rage upon Kalen as thunder crashed above. "You think you can hide from me, wretched mortal?" With a swing of his sword, he sent Kalen sprawling back, but the rogue rolled to his feet, determination etched onto his face. "Lycos," Thalos called, "hold him off. I'll take the fight to Zeus." With a powerful leap, he charged toward the king of the gods, who stood momentarily distracted by the energy of the altar. "That's a bold move, giant." Zeus growled, raising his staff, preparing to unleash the fury of the storm upon Thalos. But the Titan's spirit shone bright as he collided with Zeus, attempting to disarm him. "Your reign of terror ends today." Thalos thundered, grappling with the god, feeling the raw power of lightning coursing through the air around them. Their struggle resonated with the very essence of Olympus itself, the ground shaking beneath the Titan's clash. Elara, meanwhile, continued to rain arrows down upon Ares, a barrage of determination and spirit. "You can't silence us," she shouted, each arrow a declaration of defiance. "Your time is over." With each shot that struck true, Ares's fury mounted, his eyes flaring with wrath. "I shall drown this land in blood." He bellowed, swinging his sword wildly, the winds answering his call. But with every arrow that struck, the tide of battle shifted, Ares's confidence faltering. "Keep pushing," Lycos urged, feeling the altar pulsing beneath his fingers, the divine energy mingling with his own. "We are the storm, we are united." The words ignited a fire within them, and together they surged forward, their spirits becoming a whirlwind of purpose and courage. As Ares lunged again, Lycos shouted, "Now, together." In a synchronized effort, they attacked, striking Ares from all sides. Elara's arrows, Lycos' sword, Kalen's daggers, and Thalos' powerful strikes, all harmonizing into a singular force. And just as they saw victory within their grasp, Zeus raised his staff, summoning the storm's true fury. "Enough!" he roared, and with a wave of his hand, lightning struck the ground, a blinding flash illuminating the battlefield. But instead of despair, the heroes felt their power surge, the altar's energy amplifying their resolve. Together, Lycos shouted once more, and they formed a wall of unity against the oncoming storm. The energy they had channeled into the altar swirled around them, igniting their spirits and shielding them from Zeus's wrath. In that moment, the storm coalesced into a brilliant light, a manifestation of their combined strength. The winds that had threatened to tear them apart now bent to their will, becoming a force of hope and defiance, pushing back against the divine storm. "You think you can defy the gods?" Zeus's voice boomed, but there was an uncertainty now, a hint of admiration beneath his thunderous tone. "You have spirit, I cannot deny that." "Not just spirit," Elara cried out, her voice fierce and unwavering. "We have the will to fight for our lives, our loved ones. We are more than mere mortals, we are heroes." With a sudden surge of power, the light from the altar erupted, engulfing them all. Lycos felt his heart race as the energy pulled him closer, merging their spirits with the very essence of Olympus. Let this be our legacy." He shouted, the collective will of the heroes resonating through the storm, intertwining with Zeus's power. In a blinding flash, they pulled the storm towards them, and the winds roared in defiance, swirling around the altar. The gods' might clashed with the strength of the heroes, creating a whirlwind of light and dark, chaos and unity. "By the fates," Zeus exclaimed, both awe and fury lacing his voice, "you have shown me the strength of humanity, but can you withstand the true storm?" As the tempest swirled violently, Lycos felt his footing falter briefly. Yet the unwavering fire in his heart ignited once more. "We are forged in the storm," he declared, pushing through the turmoil, "and we shall rise together." With that proclamation, the storm intensified. The energy built to a crescendo, a kaleidoscope of light and darkness intertwining. The winds howled louder than ever, but within that chaos emerged clarity, a sense of purpose, a newfound strength. And then, in a moment that felt both eternal and fleeting, the storm erupted like a star being born. A massive, radiant explosion of light surged forth from the altar, engulfing everything in its path. The heroes felt themselves lifted, their spirits soaring above the chaos, connected by their shared resolve. As the blinding light enveloped the battleground, the gods, for the first time, were forced to recognize the true power of unity. The storm softened, the winds transformed into whispers, and the very essence of Olympus itself trembled at the sight of such resilience. In the aftermath, as the light receded, the heroes found themselves standing atop the altar, their hearts racing, breaths mingling with the remnants of the storm. They looked around, expecting to see the ruin of the battlefield, but instead they beheld a breathtaking sight. The storm had calmed, the skies above transformed into a tapestry of brilliant colors, the sun breaking through, casting golden rays upon the earth. Zeus stood before them, no longer the embodiment of wrath, but a regal figure softened by the experience. "You have taught me much today, mortals," he spoke, his voice carrying the weight of his newfound respect. "Your spirit cannot be extinguished. You have proven yourselves worthy, not of my punishment, but of my regard." Thalos, still breathing heavily from battle, stepped forward. "We fight not just for recognition, but for the rights of our people. Let this be a lesson to the gods." A smile broke across Zeus's stern face, a flicker of warmth amidst the stormy legacy he had forged. "Then I shall grant you that right. Let it be known, Olympus shall honor the hearts of mortals. You will not be disregarded again." The heroes exchanged glances, disbelief and joy illuminating.